Great. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you especially to our guest, Burcu, for joining us. It's a pleasure to see you again, and I'm just really happy to see you and hear more about your story. My name is Sarah Souza, and I work as the Assistant Director here at Duquesne University, Assistant Director of International Admissions. So I work with each and every one of our students that come to Duquesne from outside the United States. And I'd also like to introduce Mike Burke. Do you want to say any words, Mike, to our students?
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us. My name's Mike Burke. I'm the Director of International Student Services here at Duquesne. Thank you for joining us. I think this is going to be a very informative session. Burcu, thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this. Truly appreciated on our side.
Thanks for having me. It's really great to be all together again.
It is truly. So the students that are joining us today are students who are considering Duquesne. So that's kind of to understand the people who you're speaking to. But really, this is just to share your story about studying at Duquesne and your work experience. So I'd like to just hand it over to you to introduce yourself, and we'll get right into hearing more about your experience.
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Burcu. I'm an international student when I was working at Duquesne, and then I came from Turkey to United States. I graduated from the Analytics and Information Management Master degree in 2023 on Duquesne University. And then right now I'm working at BMY, which is one of the biggest bank in the United States. And I'm in the transformation office right now. I'm working as a vice president, and I'm helping, like, it's kind of like the strategic management consulting position right now. Like, I'm helping for the many different businesses to understand their pain points and then help them about to solve their problems. In general, my position is related to like the digitalization, accelerate their sales to revenue, make them find the more technological ways, improve their data quality, or provide the transparency across the bank. Happy to answer all the questions about my academic background or my position right now.
Well, we're just so happy to hear. That sounds very challenging, but I know you're the right woman for the job. That sounds amazing. So what I would like to know first is how did you choose Duquesne? What attracted you? How did you learn about Duquesne, and what made you decide on Duquesne?
I think there are like two or three main different things why I choose Duquesne. I will start from the academic part first. So my background is like my major is the business administration, and then after I graduated, I worked on the different companies in Turkey. And then actually I see that like data and analytics are very important for my career. So I always want to pursue some data and analytics career and then improve my skills about that area. While thinking about this once, I always want to do some master degree, and then I start to search schools in United States. And then at that time, actually, I encountered with the Duquesne because Duquesne has the very good fit master degree according to my interest. Like my program is like truly organized for the people. They don't have the many experience about the coding world, data and analytics world, and then I started to like to dig more and then try to understand this position. Meanwhile, at the same time, actually, when I see the program, maybe this will be the second aspect as well. So I started to communicate with some alumni from the Duquesne University. I reach out them through LinkedIn. I don't have any friends like they studied in Duquesne at that period, but now I can say that from this alumni I have some friends, and then I reach out them and then ask their experiences. And they actually provide me the very good information about like the both academic, like the lectures, professors, and also they provide me the information about the what are the opportunities for the graduate students in there. Like there are like some sponsorship opportunities. Like I got the scholarship from the school thanks to this informations, and then I actually worked as a graduate assistant. So meanwhile I'm doing my master degree, it helps me to to improve my skills, to help me to move for the job market easily. That is the one of the second reason I chose the Duquesne. And also, like when I look at the program, I see the loss of names of the faculties, and then I reach out some of the faculty members. I just like the send like the kindly email to them, introduce myself, and then I just want to do like small chat with them to understand their lectures, understand the opportunities about this master degree. And then they were super welcomed, and then they organized with me for the some Zoom meetings, like the Teams meetings, and then I met with them, and then it was very encouraging for me to meet with them, understand their lectures, what kind of information they can provide me, and then how can I improve myself. And finally, I applied to school. I got the scholarship, and then I worked as a student, and then also like the graduate assistant in the university with the academics and in small business development center. So it was an amazing opportunity for me.
Well, I know there's going to be a lot of questions at the end about your experience as a graduate assistant, so I'll just let the students know that are listening. We will take questions at the end. So, but I do want to get to kind of the meat of our discussion today before we get sidetracked with that. So, the purpose of this is to talk about OPT, and we'll kind of circle back around to your Duquesne experience. It's obviously going to be part of it, but just, I guess first, for students, I don't know if you know this, OPT stands for Optional Practical Training, and that is a work program that allows you on your F1 student visa to pursue at least 1 year of work after you graduate, sometimes during, but most of the time after you graduate, and then the option for students that are in a STEM field to extend that for 2 years. So, can you just tell us a little bit, maybe starting from the beginning, about your OPT, how you approached it, and maybe even some of the administrative steps to doing OPT?
Yeah, of course. As I remember, please correct me, Sarah, if I'm wrong. We can start to apply OPT 90 days before our graduation, and then 60
You're
days
right.
after our graduation, like that. So when I like to come closer to my graduation date, I directly connect with the international office, with the Mary Beth from the international office, and then I try to understand the whole process. And also I suggest all the international students to like to get the chance to get some consultancy from the international office about that, because it's a little bit complicated process for the first time students if they go to this process. And then I remember that 90 days before I graduated, I connected with the international office, and then I met with the Mary Beth, and then I learned the entire process from her, what I need to do, what is the deadlines, what I need to like to be careful about this process. And then I was lucky because she was super helpful, explained me to all things, and she was super patient because I have the tons of questions to her about this process. And then I remember that like maybe like the 80th day or like the 89th day. I don't remember exactly the date, but I think we applied. And then she helped me a lot for the application process as well. I applied online, and then I did my own search, and then after I filled the list of forms before before click the application, submit my application, I came to office, and then we checked all my answers together with her, and then I applied. And I think when I applied, it is not like the very busy season because I graduated on August. And then I think we applied on the September, or maybe at the end of the September or something like that. So I think it's not super busy. So I got my OPT in a month, but I know that lots of my friends wait a lot for their to get their OPT. So depending on the situation, depending on the market, and then depending on your graduation date, please connect with your international office, and then they will advise you, I believe, for the best way and then best dates.
Yeah, that's a really I forgot that you graduated at that point, so that I'm glad you pointed that out. We do let students know if you depending on when you graduate, when would be the best timeline. So that is interesting to point out that you are kind of at a different time of year when you applied. So students now that are graduating in the spring, we typically tell them to apply early because it will take shorter but longer if they wait. So that's a good point you mentioned.
Yeah, I think my situation is a little bit different because my master degree was like the 2 years degree, but we have an option to make it like the 1 year. And then I got like the extra courses on the summer, and then I finished it in a year, and then I graduated for the August. So that's why I applied on September. But in general, like the timelines are different than mine, most probably.
And that's great for students to know that with some of the programs, especially in the business school, there is some flexibility in terms of when you can complete the program. So depending on your goals, that is something to discuss with your advisor. So thanks for pointing that out. Mike, did you want to add? I know you were very curious about the process. Did you have a question for Burcu, or did she answer them?
Yeah, she answered them for me, and yeah, that was a really great explanation. But so we know that OPT is optional practical training after we graduate. I'm just wondering, Burcu, did you do CPT, the curricular practical training?
No, I didn't do any CPT because like I just I just like a student on a 1 year. So after I graduated, I directly apply for the OPT.
Right. So just for our audience, there's OPT is for after we graduate in most cases, but there's also another program called Curricular Practical Training, CPT. And what that allows students to do is actually take part in a paid internship off campus. So a lot of times students will enter into CPT and they'll actually do OPT with that same company because they formed a relationship there. The company likes that person. They don't want to lose them. So I just want the students on this call to know that there's also this opportunity to do curricular practical training while you're doing your studies. The caveat with it is you usually have to wait till your second year. You usually have to be in the country for at least a year in most instances. But yeah, because in general, when students come to the United States, they're only allowed to work on campus for 20 hours a week. That's usually the rule with an F1 student. But if you get CPT approval, this allows you to work off campus with a company that matches what your curriculum is. So if you're doing analytics and information management like Burju and you got a job at Starbucks off campus, that's not going to match, right? But if you got an internship with like BNY Mellon, then your curriculum is going to match what that position is. So yeah, I just thought I'd bring up CPT as well. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thanks for that. I was curious, in your OPT experience, did you face any challenges? And then, with that challenge, how did you overcome it?
Yeah, of course. But one question, do you want me to explain like how can I find the job with my OPT, like the challenges in this
I-
process
If
or
that's the
after the like
challenge, I was guessing that's what you would say would be the challenge. Yes, so exactly. You read my mind.
Okay, great. So, of course, like I can give the information and then I will try to be like very open. So, when I graduated, I think it's a little bit tough period for the market. So, after I graduated, like around August 2023, there's like the lots of layoffs from the across the different industries in the market, especially for the tech companies. And then many companies are slow down their hiring process or they just like the totally frozen their hiring process. So it's a little bit tough period and then it's a little bit stressful because but it I didn't give up and then I continued to apply many positions throughout that period. When I come to international office, when I explained like my situation, I'm applying the positions. I found like some volunteer experience in international office. Actually, I worked with Sarah and Mike like directly, and then it was a great opportunity, amazing opportunity for me because they provide me the real data and then it helps me to like to improve my skills by like what I learned in my master degree, and then I applied like the all the like the my learnings to like the real world, and then we developed like the dashboard together with Sarah to use in the daily business of Sarah. So it was a great opportunity for me. But meanwhile, actually, while I'm working with international office as a volunteer student, I also continue to apply to different positions in the market, and I try to keep my resume, my LinkedIn profile up to date, and also like I joined like many different like the networking activities, including career fairs, or like I just try to like to reach out to different people from the LinkedIn by checking their like company information and positions to introduce myself, explain my like the skills, capabilities, and my interest if I start to join in their companies. And then I think something happened amazing at that process. Right now, my manager like found me through LinkedIn. I haven't applied this position at BMY when he reached out to me, and then he just like reached out to me, send the position, open position, and then ask that, are you interested for this position? If it is yes, can we organize some like the informal meeting with you, and then we will understand like the each other more, especially I will introduce the position to you. And then I said, yeah, of course, like I like the position, it is really good fit with my resume. And then I said, of course, like let's meet. And then I remember that like one of the Friday afternoon I met with him, and then we did like the small chat like the about the position, about my background, and then he just like the direct meet for the HR and the other like the employees in the department. And then after Friday I did the 3 interviews for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then for Friday they sent me the offer, and then in a 2 weeks actually I started to work in this position. So I think I started a little bit tough because of the market conditions. It doesn't relate to myself. It doesn't relate it to like the university or my position. It is like the affect the whole market at that period. And then lots of different people from the different universities or my university have the same struggles. But eventually, because like I tried hard. I explained myself hard for the people, and I tried to keep the up to date all my information in the job market. And then the position came to me, and then I started to work there. So it is the like the starting a little bit tough, but it turns for the good opportunity for me.
Yeah, you worked so hard, and I think a good summary of what you said is for students to, work hard, keep everything up to date, but also keep us up to date. I remember discussing this with you and going through, and it really helps us at Duquesne to know the challenges our students are facing, and if we can assist them. And I think that was great in your case that we were able to work together. And I wanted to kind of pivot from that to talk about in your job search, did you use, I mean, obviously, so you worked with our office, the Center for Global Engagement. How did you use the other resources on campus to prepare you for this, whether it was in the business school or in career services? Did you use them? Can you explain that a little bit, the resources?
Yeah, of course, of course. I think you highlighted very good point. Keep the up to date for the older people. You can get help from the company, from the, like the university. It's a great thing. So I think I try to do my best at that period. And then addition to international office, I also like the connected with the global career center. I'm sorry if I say the name the wrong, but like the I connected with the career center, and then they helped me about the like the how can I like the write my resume, how can I highlight the like the importance areas in my resume. And then I remember that they organized some mock-up interviews, and then I joined like the many different mock-up interviews, and then I met with the, like the different companies, different employees from the companies. And then in the interviews, these are just the mock-up, and then you need to be relaxed, and then you explain yourself, and then at the end they will give you the feedback how you can refine, how you can improve your skills in the interviews. It was a great opportunity. I use this mock-up interviews a lot. I joined the career fairs. I remember that in each semester there's the one career fairs, and then I think it's a great opportunity for the international students because as an international student, when I came to US, I only know for the like the global companies. If these companies are like the in my like the hometown, or if I know them, these are really big. But also there are like a bunch of big companies in United States, but these are like only for the Pittsburgh. These are only for the like the one state, or only for the US. And then we never know that. I think the career fairs are a great opportunity to meet with the different companies, and then talk with the different employees, understand their experiences. And one addition thing, I also use a lot about like the career development center uh, of my business school. I think as a separately we have the some like the organization, little organization, and then there are lots of advisors in the business schools. And then I remember that especially when I close to graduation, I met with them, I explained my situation, and then they also check my resume and then help me to highlight like how can I like to emphasize my skills. and also they help me to connect with the alumni, and or like they're working with some companies because this is the business school, and then they help me to reach out to some of the employees from the different companies to explain myself. I think I try to use a lot, and then it's a great opportunity for me to meet, not as a resources, but I want to add one more thing. I think the professors in my faculty, and most probably for the whole Duquesne, are very welcoming about this kind of discussions as well, because they know you very well from the classes, and then they know the market as well. So they also help to connect with their alumni, with their old students, or like the some representatives from the companies to you can reach out to them. So I think it's very great opportunity for me to use all the resources, and then it's very helpful to find me the better position and explain myself.
Well, you worked so hard, and I'm glad the resources could kind of fill in for in addition to all your hard work. It certainly was an important ingredient as well. Mike, I don't want to dominate this. Do you want to ask another question to Burcu?
Um, yeah, not another question, but I just want to highlight like three things about Burcu's journey here through OPT. And it's like three P's. First of all, she's proactive. Yes, there are a lot of opportunities here. Nobody's gonna come knock on your door and hand you a job at BNY Mellon. You're gonna have to go out and get it. So I think one quality for Burcu that led to success for her was being proactive and going out and seeking the opportunities. Secondly, she was prepared, right? She kept her LinkedIn updated. She kept looking for new jobs. And then lastly, she was persistent. You have to, you have to be able to deal with the rejection. It's a numbers game. You're going to have to maybe do 20 interviews to get that one job and be turned down 19 times. So yeah, proactive, prepared, persistent. I think those were the real keys to your success, Burcu. And I think that, that's the lesson that a lot of students on this call can take from that.
Yeah, I love it. I will use them, Mike. Thank you so much.
Okay, I want commission on that though, Burcu, okay?
I kind of hone in on the preparedness point. How do you think your coursework is preparing you for your job now? Maybe you can speak to that. You talked a little bit about the faculty and their view, and I just wanted to hear more about that experience for you and how the academic and your professors prepared you for what you're doing.
I think it's a great question. So I can say that it is like the reflection of the real world. In all my job, in all my like lectures, in my like the grad student actually have some projects, and each project actually my professors provide us some real data like coming from the companies. Maybe it is not like the real time, but it's like the part of the Microsoft data, or part of some of the big companies data, and then ask us to some real the business questions. So for example, in some of the courses we try to find the problems from the data, because when you start the job, when you start to work in the real company, people says that lots of problems, but nobody knows what is the exact problem, and then the data helps a lot to understand what is the exact problem about that. So in some of my companies we focus on the data to understand what can be the problem in here, without talking with people, or with doing some interviews with the company representatives, or hearing some stories from the companies. And then we also try to solve this problem with some technical methods. We designed the dashboards for the increase the visualization, increase the transparency, or we solved some data quality problems and try to solve how we can finalize, how we can solve these problems according to this bank. And then at the end of every course, actually, we did the business level presentations. And then it's really helpful for me to understand very basically simplify the problem solution, and also our recommendations about that, because I worked on my master is a more technical side. I learned coding, I learned the different softwares and data and analytics. But in my company right now, I'm not only working with the engineers, but also working for the business side. So in your presentations, you should be very simple. You should talk about the business level to make everyone understand your problem, solutions, recommendations. So I think all the presentations at the end of the projects are helpful for me to how can I adjust my tone to explain my project to the like the general audience. I think like all of the projects are very helpful, and at the end of the like the program, actually, for the like the we have the one capstone course, and in this capstone course we are working with the real company and then communicate with the like the employees of the real company, collect the real data, and then like bring some different recommendations according to their solutions. It's also very helpful because in the real world we are doing the same things almost every day. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Sarah.
Great. And I learned more about the academic program. So thank you for that. That helps me in my work. My last question, Burcu, and I invited the students to post some questions in the chat. I think they're just so excited to hear about what you're saying. It's very silent. That's unusual. Um, so my last question, and then I'll hand it over to Mike for a question, and then we'll open it up for students, and I'll give you those questions from our students. But did you end up pursuing the STEM OPT extension, or did you just use the 1 year? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, my program is also like the STEM, and then I started at the BMY with my like the OPT extension, like the first year OPT, and then after the like the first year, we applied for the STEM extension. So in my experience, I actually work with some lawyers in my company. We are working with some third-party lawyers, and then they reach out me when the time comes, and then they ask like the few questions about my background, about my position. As I remember, these questions are related to what is my roles and responsibilities in my position, how it's like the interacting with my like the graduated school, like with my OPT, what is the like the common points with my roles and responsibilities and OPT, and then the final things about like the performance reviews in the my company, as I remember. So and in my experience, they actually filled all these questions related to like the general know-how about the company and about my position, and then they send it to me for the like the validate for the points. And at that point, actually, I reviewed all the answers, and then when I see that like they feel the like the some of the pieces are very general answers, I help them to like to refine the answers and then reflect my like the my day-to-day business, and then how it's like the similar things what I studied in Duquesne, actually in my OPT in my graduate school. And because like I know that these like the processes are don't like tolerate any mistake, I always reach out to international office again, and then I send all the documents to Mary Beth, and then she also reviewed and then give me some advices about that what we can do. And after we finalized all the documentation pieces, I got the signature from my direct reporting manager, and then we uploaded everything. I think the lawyers uploaded everything to the system, or like I don't know what they did actually in that process, but I sent all the documentation to them, and then they submitted for me. And it takes more time than getting my first OPT actually for the STEM extension. So it's about luck, and then it's about like the how many applications it came, I think. But it's also important to like the timely apply for this kind of things. Right now I'm in the H1B process, so I don't know. Still, I'm waiting the answers. Finger crossed. So this is like all my experience about OPT and STEM OPT.
Well, that's great news. Thank you for that. And time is always something important to consider with these applications. Mike, I'll give you the last question, and then I'll present some questions from our students.
Yeah, sure. I guess, Burcu, I mean, I think you've given us a lot of great information today, and I'm sure you've enlightened our audience here. But I was just wondering, like, if you wanted to just maybe give a quick piece of advice to our audience on like going about getting a job at you know, to participate in your OPT. I was just wondering if you could take us through that just a little bit, and just advice that you would give to our audience here today.
I think the biggest advice I can give, start early. Don't wait until graduation to apply any positions, because you never know the market situation. You never know what companies are hiring at that process at that time. So start early and proactive as much as possible. Not only apply, I think Mike said something very good, like that this is like the number job. Apply as much as possible to like the jobs you are interested, and stay calm and positive about this process, because we never know that who are our competitors and then what the actually companies are looking. And stay patient, stay positive, and continue to apply, and like use your resources as much as possible. I think my experience in Duquesne is great. Whenever I asked some help from people, from my professors, from some staffs, international office, career development, they're always very welcoming. But you need to reach out them and then explain yourself wherever you go. I think being proactive is very important in this situation. But again, like the start early, stay positive, and then be proactive in this process.
Thanks so much, Burcu. Yeah, so yeah, you added two more
You're
P's for
welcome.
it, patience and positivity, right? So yeah, thanks so much. I
Yeah,
guess we have
thank you.
it looks like we have some questions in the chat, Sarah.
Yeah, it looks like we do. So, as I predicted, students were very curious to learn about how you got the GA position. So, just for our students to kind of a general knowledge, most master's degrees, in general in the U.S., they don't come with scholarships, but if there's an opportunity for funding, it's typically as a graduate assistant. So, there's several questions about that. So, can you talk about how that application process worked and how you were able to get that graduate assistantship?
Yeah, I think there are like some prerequisites for the like to apply to graduate assistantship. But while I remember that while I'm applying for my master degree, I also apply for the graduate assistantship position. I think first like the checkpoint is like the your points, like you collected how much points you collected GPA from your like the previous universities, and then they will check this one, and then if it is like higher than 3.5 in the like the four system, so I think you will be eligible for the interviews. And I remember that I did like the one or two interviews with the business school, and then they asked like some questions related to my background, related to my like leadership skills, my like the assistant type skills, like how can I help with like the other people, how can I be in the like the teamwork, like this kind of questions. And then after this like process, they offered me the graduate assistantship position.
And students, if you want to reach out to me about that, I'm happy to answer those questions too, in terms of like what it's like now, because it is different for every school. So just to kind of frame this with that was at that point and Burju's experience. So I'm happy to help you if you want to reach out to me. You should all have my email. So there was another question about any. So how did your time at Duquesne change or reorient or shape your final idea after you graduated? Any specific aspects that were influential to you that students can, use your experience and look out for that to take advantage of your time at Duquesne and how that shaped after your graduation?
So I think it's very like impactful in my life because I learned a lot about the data and analytics. And then before joining Duquesne and then did my master degree in Duquesne, I have some experience in management consulting, but this is more like the business side and strategy side. So when I see the power of the data and analytics, actually I decide to combine with my previous knowledge, previous experience with what I learned in the Duquesne University in terms of the data and analytics. And then right now in my position, actually, I'm kind of bridge between like the technical and business departments. In general, I'm learning what is like the concerns, what is the pain points in the like the business, and then I convert these ideas to like the technical mindset, and then I work with the engineers how we can solve this problem with like the developing new products, some digital products, or like with the data quality issues. Before I did my master degree, actually, I couldn't be that confident to talk with the engineers or try to convert the problems to like more technical data or analytics problems. But Duquesne education provide me the more confident, because right now I know like the even if I don't know the super technical parts of what engineering is doing under the some of the systems, because my position is like super technical. But I know that what are the basics, what kind of information I need to provide between two different parties. And then I think it improves my confidence working in my position right now.
We had a couple questions about CPT that I'm just going to answer to them because I know that you didn't specifically
Yeah, I
work
didn't know.
CPT. So I'll work. So students that have questions about that, we will address that. But basically, anyone that comes to the US on an F1 visa is afforded certain benefits. And one of those is CPT and another one is OPT. So just to kind of generally answer those questions about if you qualify for it, yes, that's all students at every university. So we work with you at the international office to kind of explain to you what's the framing of it, what's the regulation, and we'll help you to understand that. So kind of I guess one last question to kind of speak more, unless students have another one, but I promised we would keep you within a certain time frame. So I'm mindful of that. I just wanted for students that maybe don't get the graduate assistantship, so maybe they need to take out a loan. How can you explain the financial benefit of OPT to those students, maybe to alleviate some of that concern? It is a large amount of money, maybe to people, even to me, I'm American, it's an investment. So how would you explain your experience working OPT and maybe how they can view those loans and maybe have a better idea of how they can repay those?
Mhm. So yeah, I can help about this one, and then I can explain the situation. But before moving your question, I also want to remind one point I learned from my friends as an experience. In the first step, if you cannot get the graduate assistantship position, and even if you need to pay the tuition of the school or any other the things, when you are studying, you can always apply for the open positions in the graduate assistantship. So, for example, I remember that I have some friends for the first year, they joined the master degree with their own the funds. But for the second year, they applied for the open positions for the graduate assistantship. They conducted all the interviews, what I did from the beginning. And then they also got the position as a graduate assistant for their second year. So I think I don't know which schools are offered similar things, but in my business school, if they didn't change the policies, procedures, I think you can always get this. You can always have this second chance to be graduate assistant in there. Also, beside of the graduate assistant, what I see from my friends, you can work in the as a student positions. It can be in some of the faculties. It can be in the for example, I remember that Barnes and Nobles in our university, in our campus, and then some of my friends are working the Barnes and Noble when they have the time as a part time. I don't know the visa considerations and other things. I believe Sarah helps you about more that, but there's also options if you want to work and then earn some money or cover some of your tuition in school. When I moved to OPT, I think I started to work at Pittsburgh, and then right now I'm living in Orlando. I changed my location, but the companies provide the very well amount of money. It depends on the industry. It depends on your position, of course, but in general, it covers all your the daily expenses, your rents, your transportation, your basics groceries, restaurants, costs, plus even I see that you can save some money out of all your spending. So when you start the OPT, I think again depending on the position and depending on the company, they will provide the good amount of good amount of monies to you to live your life in United States. If you stay in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is the super convenient city. I think this is cheaper than any other city I see in the United States. It's super like convenient in terms of the transportation and other things. So I don't think that you have a problem after you start the job. But also, like, I think companies also adjust their salaries depending on the state and depending on the cities. So even you move to California, even you move to New York, I think your salary will depend on your location as well. So I will not like worry about the starting the OPT and then start to earn salary to live in US.
Thank you. That's really helpful to frame it for students maybe that don't have that experience working in the United States. So that's really helpful. You have provided so much information that is helpful to our students. I just see a lot of people thanking you in the chat. And I just want to thank you as well. Mike, if you want to jump in and any final words to our students as we wrap this up and for Burcu.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Burcu. It's been a great session, and you know how much we appreciate it here. You know us, and you know
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it here. Yeah, and I just wanted to touch just on just one more time on the investment in oneself, right? Listen, I know I put 3 children through school in the United States. I know higher education is expensive in the United States. I also think higher education is very good in the United States, and I still believe that very strongly. So it's daunting to think about that kind of money, but you have to think of it as an investment in yourself. And what I tell students all the time is, tell me where else you're going to get a return on that investment. Like, we're not going to ask you, Burcu, how much money you're making, but I'm sure if you took that money that you put in your master's and put it into the stock market, you would not be making the return you're making on it now. It's not even close. So,
My family, sorry to interrupt. My family is always say that like education is the investment. Never think about the cost of the education. It opens the very good doors for you, and then regardless of how much money you spend for your education, you will always earn more to cover all the costs, as I see, and then as I experience from my friends as well.
exactly. So just last word I would say before giving it back to you, Sarah, is just that I know it's scary, and I know I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest person on this call, so I'll share a little wisdom with you. In my life, whenever I've put myself in uncomfortable positions, it's usually worked out for me. You know, my friends who have stayed all comfortable all their life, they still live in the same place, they still have the same discussions. You know, to put yourself in that discomfort, in my experience, has always worked out for me. But yeah, once again, thanks so much, Burcu. Thanks to our audience for coming in with us today. And yeah, back to you, Sarah.
Yeah, again, just echo that. And to our students that are listening, I think, this shows we really enjoy working with our students at Duquesne, and we're invested in your success. That's something I want to highlight as well. I love doing these webinars because I love hearing how Burcu has found success and that Duquesne is a part of that. So that's a real pleasure. That's a real just a wonderful part of my day to be able to hear your story, Burcu. So thank you again, and thank you for sharing that to our students. I think it's really helpful when they're in this decision-making process. And we will make this available to students. So I saw that in the chat. So we will make that available. So you got to get back to work. So I'm sorry that we are holding
No
you from
problem.
it. Uh, so we'll end it here. And if students, you have questions, please reach out to me. I always you should already have my emails, and I'd be happy to answer any questions for you in this journey. So thank you, Burcu, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope everyone on this call
Yeah.
does too.
Thank you so much. It's always pleasure to work with you, like chat with you, and then I'm glad you having me for here today. Have a good day.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.